Good morning. Thank you, Damon. This is great to be in a friendly room. I mean, this is, for me, I don't always get to speak to crowds like this. And matter of fact, last November, I did a book signing in Charleston. Saturday morning, 11 o'clock, my soccer players show up and their parents. What could possibly go wrong? And probably about 30 minutes into it, this guy comes up to me. He said, Mr. Kozera, when are you going to do the 5-minute summary of the book? What I didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, he was the head of the Green Party in West Virginia. He had driven several hours with his entourage to come to my book signing. I mean, come on. And that 5 minutes turned into an hour-and-a-half debate. I was totally unprepared. Matter of fact, I felt like I was sucker punched. And thank God my players were there because I could almost sense them saying, come on, coach, get up, come on, hit him back. And you know what his first comments were? And I'll bet you didn't know this. He said, you're going to turn West Virginia into a vast nuclear wasteland. I said, really? I said, that hasn't been my experience. And going through this hour and a half, finally, I got to the point. And folks, this is absolutely true. I looked him in the eye. And by the way, he'd even done his homework to the point where he was telling me about SPE papers I wrote in the 90s. I couldn't even remember what I said. And he said, Mr. Kozera, you said, so be aware, those folks are out there, and they'll show up when you least expect it. And one thing, though, I looked him in the eye. I finally said, look, I said, our industry, we've lowered CO2 emissions to 1992 levels without the help of government. We're bringing industry back to the United States. We've got steel mills here. We're building chemical plants here. And because of that, they're not being built in China and India and in the Middle East. We're actually reducing global pollution because those things are under our environmental law, not Chinese or Indian or other places where there is no environmental law. And then I went through a litany of other things that we're doing. Right now, once we reclaim a well site, what we're seeing is food, grasslands for deer, turkey. Matter of fact, in Virginia, where I'm president, we've got a place where they've actually brought an elk herd back. It's a coal strip mine with a bunch of fracked coal bed methane wells on it. There's elk. We're seeing deer. We're seeing wild turkey. We're seeing birds. The Audubon people actually came out to that site to see birds that they hadn't seen in that part of the state forever. And isn't it amazing? They're coming to our sites, and they can do that here in West Virginia, to see birds. And if you go to the other alternative energies, the renewables, where there's like windmills, you'll see birds, but maybe they're not the kind of birds the Audubon people really want to see. But I looked this guy in the eye and I said, we're doing more for the environment than the EPA and all you environmental groups put together. And my wife told me later on, she said, oh, Greg, she said, when you called yourself an environmentalist, you really got upset. You should have. But then he did something really stupid. He went beyond attacking my belief or my statements or my facts. He went right after me verbally. And what he didn't know is that entire room was my soccer players and their parents who happened to be doctors, lawyers, business people in Charleston. He didn't do himself and his cause any favors. And he was that close. I'm watching my captain, who's a big guy, and he's doing this. I'm thinking, oh my God, there's not going to be a fight. If something happens, it's going to be one punch, and Greeny's going down. And he ain't getting back up. But thank God my captain told me, he said, Coach, he said, I almost hit him, but I thought better of it. And that's good for everybody. But here's my message, folks. You guys, what we're doing we're providing jobs. You know that. And I can see it. As soon as I came north this morning, when you get north of Sutton, you can see the construction. You can see the traffic on the highways. You can see the jobs that we're providing. We don't have that as much in the southern part of the state as we have right up here. And all you got to do is look at this expo and what's outside. That's what we're doing for the state, and it's providing jobs, real jobs, permanent jobs, good jobs, tax revenues for West Virginia, and actually federal tax revenues, believe it or not. We're doing all that stuff, and you know that. We're providing energy for the United States. But just as important, that Greeny, their belief, and there's a lot of people that believe this, folks, that we're going to be able to run this country on wind and solar. Well, ain't going to happen. Matter of fact, in last fall, we had a discussion in Richmond at the Government Energy Conference with the Sierra Club. And the only thing we agreed on, 30 minutes, was natural gas prices were too low. And I said, we'd love to see $4 to $6. And this girl says, no, 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 we need 12 to 14. I said, why? That would quadruple everybody's utility bills. She said, yeah. And then you'd all use less, and then wind and solar would take over. I said, lady, I got to break your bubble. But that isn't going to happen. And I tell you why it's not going to happen. My wife and I took our first trip ever to Vegas. We're flying in there, and in the 5 days I was there, I saw one solar installation. And we went from Vegas, we drove down to Arizona, and I'm scratching my head because our timeshare had gas heat, gas dryer, gas stove. I'm thinking, well, where's all the electricity? Folks, it was 114 to 116 degrees the days I was there. The sun was out every day. And if you can't use solar energy in Las Vegas, if you can't use it in Nevada, in the middle of the desert, if you can't use it in Arizona, how in the world are we going to make it happen back here? We're using it for our own installations, but certainly not to run this. So, but here's the message. My message this morning is, folks, doing your job today is not good enough. Just taking care of your business isn't going to get it. Because right now, and I've done a lot of talks, 60 to 70% of this country doesn't really know or care what you do. They absolutely don't. As long as the lights are on and the heat's on, it's all good. They don't know where it comes from until it's not there. And there are part of that 60 to 70. We got the antis on one end and we're on the other end. But this group in the middle is movable. They need to be educated. But my question in this hall, if someone asked you what fracking is, could you tell them? Or more importantly, if they approached one of your employees in the grocery store with your company shirt on and said, say, you're in the gas industry, does your company frack, or isn't that bad? What would your employees say? And folks, if we're not educating ourselves, if we're not educating our employees, we're in trouble. And this can be this Expo can be a great way to educate each other. There's a lot of, we've got, matter of fact, I talked to the lady that's the incoming president at Desk and Derrick. They've got several clubs here in West Virginia. We need to support those folks. We need to support them. We need to encourage our employees, our office folks, and even the non-technical folks to attend those things, because that's a great way to understand this industry better. And let's face it, I'm on social media, but I'm on my Facebook page about once a week. My wife is on there every day, multiple times a day. So a lot of you gentlemen, your spouses are out there. You don't have time to do this, but if you haven't educated your wife, if you haven't educated your kids, you're doing this industry disservice. Because they need to, they're out there, and when there's something negative out there on social media, before I can open my mouth, my wife's jumped all over it and set the record straight. We need all the help we can get, and we need to be a team. If you're not part of the trade associations, Wavonga's represented here, you're not part of the team, because it takes, their sponsor on Inside Shale, they're doing a lot of work with Rainmaker to help our PR. If you're not part of that team helping out financially and attending the meetings, you're doing this industry a disservice. So I challenge you to be part of the team. If you're not a member of a trade association, get involved. I'll tell you what, I'm a professional speaker. When I'm looking for professional speakers, for training my folks or for an event that I'm planning, I'm a member of the National Speakers Association. If they're not a member of the National Speakers Association, our trade association, I don't even consider them. That's how serious I am about it. So be part of your trade association. Encourage them, get educated about our industry so you can educate the public. It's so important. And we've made, I'll tell you what, when you look at what's going on, we've made a lot of strides. We absolutely have. And Damien told you I'm a high school soccer coach. Well, today, this is a tough morning for me. It really is. We played Capitol High. They're our crosstown rivals in Charleston. And we were up 3-0. And we just finished, we ended up, we won a few state championships. We just lost a 64-game winning streak up in Wheeling a couple weeks ago. But we're up on Capitol 3-0 at halftime. Our arch rival, we got them 3-0. We got them right where we want them. And I cautioned our players at halftime. I said, gentlemen, you cannot let up. You got to continue to go out and play hard. You got to take the game to them, because these guys want you. They'll fight back. Guess who didn't listen to me? Capitol scored 4 goals in the second half. Our boys were devastated. And I said, gentlemen, after the game, I said, you cannot change the past. It's happened. It's over. You can learn from it. And you can know that just because you're ahead at halftime doesn't mean you're going to win the game. And folks, I feel like we're getting to the point with with what's going on here and what we're doing with energy. Think about, we're changing global politics. The crown princes in the Middle East are looking for alternatives for revenue. Russia is scared to death because they have a stranglehold on Eastern Europe. They sell them 100% of their natural gas. When we start shipping gas over there, do you think Putin likes that? We're changing global politics. But we, even though we're ahead at halftime, we need to educate ourselves. We need to be part of our trade associations. We need to continue to do these things and come together. And it's important because we're a team. And teams, even in times of adversity, don't come apart. And that's what our team's going to do Saturday. We're going to come together. And this industry continues to need to come together. Let's continue to educate ourselves. This is a great team. This is incredible. This is the kind of stuff that makes us stronger. So it's a privilege to be here this morning. Damien, thank you for this opportunity and for bringing us all together as a team. And folks, what you're doing now is just the beginning. You're helping seniors pay their gas bill. My mother's gas bill went down $100 a month. That's not going to happen if the wind and solar people win. So I challenge you, continue to do a great job at work, but get outside of your job and let's educate our people, let's educate the public. And thank you for this opportunity.